been a lot longer than I thought it has since I did my last iPad Pro Speedpaint Compilation, so I really wanted to do that today because it has been a long time. I definitely don't use my iPad as much as I did when I first purchased it. I did buy my iPad primarily used with Procreate for making digital art, and to this day, like, I'm still beyond grateful I did that because it's such a nice tool. Like, I could not recommend iPad Pros for digital artists more. Procreate is a really intuitive program and just like, it's so nice. So I really recommend getting an iPad Pro. I know they're really expensive, so it's something you have to save up for and invest in, but it's just really convenient. And it's also nice for me. I've never had a tablet, so the fact that I can just like stream Hulu or Netflix while I'm working in my art space, because I don't have a TV in this room, it's really nice and extremely convenient. So I love my iPad to death, but I just haven't like used it a whole lot for digital art in the past. I would say like 6 months. So all of these speed paints that you're actually seeing are fairly old, between like, I want to say like around a year and a half old, maybe. I don't know. I'm bad at judging time. I don't know how much time it's actually been, but they're all really old. But recently, I just haven't been super inspired to make a whole lot of traditional art, and I just find myself in this constant state of like, I don't particularly want to do it, but I also have a lot of inspiration to make stuff, but once I get like down to it and I sit down and I'm ready to create art, it's like, I don't know, I can't. But I've been really having fun doing digital art. I haven't done a ton recently, but I've done like 2 things, which really isn't a lot, but digital art takes me a lot longer to make than traditional art. There's just a lot more refining and feeling like it needs to be perfect. There's a lot less room for like error in my eyes with digital art because it is something that you can just constantly erase and redo if you're not happy with it. So for me personally, I do spend significantly more time on digital art than I do on traditional art. So it takes me a while to actually get stuff done, but for me, I've always personally struggled with finding a digital art style of just, not in terms of like necessarily drawing itself, but there's just so many factors when it comes to how you want your line art to work, how you want your coloring and your shading to look, and just so many outside factors outside of just the way you naturally draw in your style that it's really hard for me to stay consistent with digital art, because I personally definitely prefer my own traditional art. There's so many like little factors and imperfections that go into traditional art that you just can't capture on digital art, and I've really come to love textures and art and mixed media and just going with the flow with traditional art versus digital art. I feel like I subject myself to sticking within certain confines, and I just have a really hard time finding how I want my finished pieces to look when it comes to digital art. So that's always something that I've kind of bounced back and forth between. I try a lot of different things, especially I feel like for me, the hardest thing to find something that I'm happy with as far as technique and final product looks is shading when it comes to digital art. I never know if I want to do like cell shading where it's unblended, just like an overlay layer, or if I want to do blended shading. It's really hard. I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but like, I understand how I want like blush and stuff on skin to work. I have that down, but when it comes to actual shading of digital art, I really struggle and go back and forth a lot with how I want the finished piece to look. And I definitely want to add shading because like certain people have like flat color art and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous, but for me personally, I feel like it needs shading, and I feel like shading really helps it a lot. So it's just really hard for me to stay consistent with digital art and find an overall like finished look that I appreciate. And it's really nice because, like I said, Procreate is a really great program. I did buy my iPad solely to use Procreate and like, it's a really wonderful program. For digital art before my iPad, I used Paint Tool Sci on my computer, and I really like Paint Tool Sci. I've used Photoshop and MS Paint and stuff, which MS Paint is but I mean, you can make nice things in MS Paint, but I feel like Procreate is a really smooth transition from Paint Tool Sci on a computer, and I just, it's so nice. But yeah, digital art for me is just, it's a weird slope of like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I think I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, not at all. So it's definitely something that like, it's hard for me to get back into once I stop doing digital art for a while, because it's mildly overwhelming with like just how many choices there are to make in terms of all the factors that go into it, like coloring, line work, etc. But recently, in the most 2 recent pieces I did digital art with, which I'm not showing in this video actually because I wanted to show off some of the older pieces that I still like a little bit at the very least, and that way it's kind of in chronological order as far as my compilation videos go, as far as the actual content that's in them. So these are, like I said, fairly older pieces, but recently in the past like couple weeks I've been working on a couple different digital art pieces, and I think I've really like found a coloring style that I really like, and it like implements line work into it, and I've just been having a lot of fun doing that because it's a technique that I really enjoy the final outcome, and I feel like while it's not necessarily more similar to my traditional style and just the way I work with traditional art, I feel like it's something that it looks less bland, I guess is the way to say it, but I like it a lot, and so I'm excited to experiment more with digital art. I don't know how long I'm gonna like keep on this streak of working on things digitally. Like I said, I've been struggling with traditional art recently, and I don't know why. It's just very hard for me to create right now, and I know a lot of other people are in that boat with everything going on. As far as the actual art pieces that the speed paints are of in this video, I don't have too much to say on them because they were like at least 6 months old, probably like a year or so old each individually on their own, but most of them are fruits basket because at that point in time I was on a very heavy fruits basket binge, and I was very excited about making a lot of fruits basket art. I always am on a fruits basket binge. It just like varies in the strength of the fruits basket binge because it's my favorite series. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, and I've done a lot of fruits basket fan art on my channel. There's also a good amount of Breath of the Wild fan art in here because it's a beautiful game, and every time I think about it I want to draw stuff from it because I love Breath of the Wild so much. It was my first Zelda game actually, which is very surprising, I know, and I've played a couple of others since then, but Breath of the Wild by far I think will be like one of the best games, if not the best game I've ever played. It was just really pretty and it was very enjoyable, and I know most of you guys have probably played it by now, but if you haven't and you have a Switch, I would highly recommend it. It's a wonderful game. In the time frame at which I haven't been doing a whole lot of art recently, I've been playing a lot of video games, which is really fun for me because normally when I play video games, I see it as like, I'm enjoying myself, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, this is a waste of time. I could be doing something more productive and something just different and I guess better, which is a very horrible mindset to have because that does not allow you to do anything fun at all, ever. But I played Final Fantasy 15 recently. I technically finished the story, but there's still some post-game stuff I want to do. That is an amazing game. I've played Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2 before. I think those are the only Final Fantasy games I've played, but I bought the 7 remake because after 15 I was like, I want to play another one, and I have 10 and 10-2, the like remaster on the Switch that I purchased and then I just didn't play. So I'll probably play that sometime soon, and just like a little like splash of miscellaneous games here and there, but it's just been something that's really fun and relaxing to do to take my mind off of things and just like 100% space out. So Final Fantasy 15, beautiful. But that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and getting this far. There's also some lovely footage of my cat Aslan being a goofball and standing on my iPad and just being cute as a whole, as he always is. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.